the Cooper Farm several years ago. And I believe one of the things that we worked on was that we try to preserve the agricultural sense of the town on the street level and bring the playing fields down towards the bottom so that they don't impact the view that we traditionally have come to appreciate. Over the years that followed, we also sort of applied that same idea to the use of the Morgan property, and I think that had the general approval of all the different parties in town, those that appreciate open space, as well as decent playing fields and numbers of playing fields. So I would just, basically what I'm saying is I think we should try to work on maintaining town character. Let's not put playing fields right on our main roads when we have the opportunity to place them back.
Well, I think we can capture that as just a general comment, maybe on one of the existing charts, or if you just want to add it there. People, I mean, if it's important enough.
Joan,
Yes.
a question.
Yes.
We've got two separate ideas here, but they don't necessarily need to be separate, because it seems to me that the concept of preserving the front lands and agriculture could still go with this.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And if it's the pleasure of you all, we could just eliminate the line between those.
Yeah, I think that works. I mean, I think what we're really trying to get at is, obviously, we're not doing a master plan for the Cooper property tonight, or trying to identify all the potential, but we're really trying to also weed out the ones that maybe just really don't make the cut, or don't really lend themselves to more than just a field, and if that's not what you want to accomplish. So I think, if we take that line out, but again, if you vote for that, within that, there could be infinite possibilities of how you develop or don't develop that site. Yeah, I guess, Keith, if you want to mention the July 13th meeting, would that be?
I just have one quick comment.
Just since we're talking about the Cooper property, we don't need to determine the outcome of that property tonight. The Board of Selectmen is hosting a public hearing on Monday, July 13th, when we'll be reviewing a particular proposal that's been submitted by the seller for the proposed use of that property, and we're looking to get some feedback to them and have the town be able to tell us what their thoughts are about the future use of that property, and whether or not we're interested in allowing that proposal to go through in the current or some modified form, or whether we would want to bring the matter of acquiring the property for $1.8 million forward to a town meeting. So we will have plenty of time to deal with that issue this summer. In fact, July and August or would be set aside for the Board of Selectmen to begin and then continue a public hearing on that property, hopefully with the decision at the end of the summer.
Yes.
I just have a comment about the Morgan property, and not to take anything away from it, just a precaution that I know that it's been looked at for several different uses. It's been looked at for the fire department. It's been looked at for the library, and I know a factor's been looked at as far as dollars is concerned, just to get into the property. So think about what it's going to cost to get into that property as far as making it usable.
Yeah, maybe just throw some dollar signs up there for with access next to it. So it's not really an item we're voting on, but it's something that we need to know about, is what you're saying. Okay. So we've got, some idea that Cooper could fulfill a lot of needs and still, do the agricultural preservation. Nobody said anything about Sanderson. Anybody want to give me any thoughts on that?
Where is that? Like, I know where Sanderson's property is, but how much of it is available?
I thought it was sold.
Oh, Sanderson is off. Why did I write down?
Yeah, aren't they building houses there?
Sorry. It's yeah, sorry, that one was developed or has a subdivision plan on, as I understand. Okay, my error.
If you want to see bike lanes on the roads, where do you put your sticker?
Well, bike walking trails on and off road, you want to be able to react to those separately?
Well, yes, because off-road would require to be on a site, whereas
Right.
the roads we currently have, and that's paint.
Okay, so we can have two separate thoughts on that, off-road and on-road. Great, thank you.
Yeah, you mentioned Sanderson and the part that has a plan zone, it has a wetland and esker, so that would not be quite appropriate, and it's supposed to have a conservation restriction as well, which strangely was given to the town, not the Conservation Commission. On the other side of the Sanderson Road, you do have fields, but it's also a water aquifer district. So the water department, when approached, they said, well, if you're going to have anything there, you would need a synthetic turf field. So right away, that's $2 million on top of whatever else. So I think that's just completely off the board, both sides.
Great, thank you. Nope, back.
I just have one quick question. You've listed all these, everyone's listed all these great ideas, things that might come. Is a vote actually necessary tonight? Or could you just take this information and compile it and get it out to the townspeople? We have such a small sample right here.
Yeah,
But I'm only speaking for myself. Other people might want to make that vote.
we can certainly leave that up to you. We frequently do this because actually, I mean, in some instances, we have a lot of smaller groups sitting and talking and developing their own charts, and then we try to pull everybody back together. But if you think it will be useful to you, then we'll go ahead and do it. And if not, we certainly can, we will transcribe all these charts and make it available to Keith, and whatever works for you. We have no vested interest in voting.
Yeah, and we'd also be having this program broadcast on LCTV. It will also be available on demand. I think that we could probably do a good deal of outreach, watch the show. I guess I'll have to consult with our technical wizards to see if they can flash something off at at an appropriate time, like on YouTube or something. If you like what you see, press now. We can sort through what some of those technical options are, but certainly we can get it posted onto the website and give an opportunity to get feedback, and we'd be happy to work on that to reach, since we've got a package of information now that we can get out to people, and then maybe we can come up with a more methodical way for getting input back. So happy to work on that.
Okay, so am I hearing no dot voting? No? Okay, anybody desperately want to vote?
It'd be hard to tell what it meant.
Sure.
Because it's actually apples and oranges, there are a lot of,
Mhm.
we were getting sort of a sense, which
Right.
might be good, it might be a beginning,
Yeah.
but I think voting is.
All right, so I spent 15 minutes today cutting dots for nothing? That's, okay, I still get paid.
Now, you know how the town clerk feels when she's ready for a counted vote on a borrowing issue, and then we do unanimous vote, so.
Okay,
I just have a question. I think that a lot of people have said, and I certainly agree, it would be nice to have a place where there is a facility for indoor, and there's plenty of room around it, and it's a meeting point for the town. Is the lands, or are the lands around the high school, middle school, sufficient to do something like that?
well, there may be somebody here who knows that complex better, but basically, could you put a recreation center, like we've been hearing about, on that property? Plus some fields.
Another possibility, and I'm sure other people know better about this than I do, but one of the churches has actually joined together, parish with one in another town, and it's a top-down type religion as far as real estate, and you never know if that's going to be excess. If that were, that is a building that could be reused and does have a field and back that is being used. So things can happen, and this is a case of something that may be accessed, and bears watching.
Okay. And do you want to name the?
Sure.
It's-
I have no connection
Yeah,
with the Church
sure.
of St. Anne's.
Okay.
But it has a large parking lot, has a field there, and one never knows what top-down administrators do when they try to join things together.
Okay,
I know
so
the
it's-
members in the audience of that church, and they can probably speak better to that.
All right, so St. Anne's could be a potential location, potential,
It's hard to say.
right,
It's a
but-
possibility.
if things came into play that way for a potential recreation center. Okay?
Thanks very much.
Okay, we definitely have time for more comments. We're here to just to listen. So if there anything that we haven't covered tonight that you think would be useful for us to know?
Just one more thought. I visited a town in Maine in the winter and discovered, I think it was maybe it was a YMCA, they had an indoor walking track that the old people in town used. And we have a lot of snow here, and it carries on for quite a few months. And that seems like a thought that hasn't been surfaced at this point. So if you can end up with an indoor recreation center, that would be something to consider.
And you don't have your own mall here, do you? Where's the mall one? Yeah, or Salmon Pond or something like that. Or Montreal, okay, right, because they have that vast underground shopping network. Yes.
I just had a question. I believe a couple years ago, the town looked at some sort of relationship with what used to be the Wang Country Club in Groton. Because I know swimming was one of the things that was on that survey. Has that idea died? Does anybody know?
I know they've had a lot of problems with the finances of it, and people like saving and protecting it. I think it's ongoing, but finances have been a major issue. But even towns like Concord have put up a swimming club. They have a hard time with finances on that too. A lot of these facilities are hard to maintain financially, et cetera.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever heard too many successful swimming facilities that communities are glad to have undertaken.
Yeah, Joan, just on the Groton, we're talking about the Groton Country Club, that the Park and Rec department here was approached by the town of Groton a couple of years ago to see whether we could manage their facility for them, and it wasn't something that we wanted to prioritize our time on, and it really ended up not being something that was in Groton's best interest either, but that was explored.
Okay,
There were
thank you.
discussions.
Thanks.
Okay, any last thoughts?
Yeah, it's hard having facilities farther afield. We need transportation, but I was on the Devon's Reuse Committee, and they're actually one of the ideal uses, the huge parade ground going to a soccer league, and a lot of soccer groups play there. I've seen elsewhere Mass Development has leased it for some other active recreation. I wonder if someone looks at the cost of developing something versus transporting people someplace, if that would make sense. And that's a place with a lot of capability, even today. I mean, it's a lot of land there.
Great, so Cynthia's capturing that thought. Just one other question for you. Are there any sort of public-private partnerships with any of your large businesses in town that you might be moving forward with or might have some interest in?
Well, we're always in communication with our businesses on ways that they can help us, and recreation is sort of at the top of things with existing businesses and some new businesses that are moving in. That may help us when it comes time to needing resources to do something, but we haven't figured out, where you would put the facility that you want, and it's so obvious, and that someone's going to give us the land, and that all the pieces are not quite in place yet. But
Okay, are people winding down here? Or we have Any more comments? It's been a great conversation. I think we've really covered a lot of ground. We would be happy to take any more comments, maybe channel them through Keith.
Sure.
So you could take a look at them and send them on to us. And you want to talk a little bit about next steps?
Sure. Thanks very much to Joan and Cynthia and Tanya and Mark tonight coming out, and thanks to all of you for participating as well. That we had designed this as a means of getting more public information, getting more information out. I think it's a great suggestion that we take what we've learned tonight, the ideas that we have, and find a way to get that out to the community for some feedback. So we shall work on that. We will be convening another facilitated session in due course. We'll have to work out exactly when that is, but I think that could be a focal point for the information, the input that we will be soliciting from our community members between now and then, and bring the results forward and have a final discussion at our next session. Information from tonight will be available online as soon as it's in a ready form. Mark isn't doing us live, but I'm sure it'll be up before too long. I want to thank Mark and Kirby from LCTV for being here as well, and to thank again all of you for participating in this important meeting about Littleton's future. Thanks very much.